So Obi-Wan Kenobi follows the titular Jedi Master in the years between Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And right off the bat, the first thing I will say is that I was extremely excited for this show. You know, I remember when they announced this show and when they announced the fact that Ewan McGregor was coming back as Obi-Wan Kenobi, that Hayden Christensen was coming back as Anakin Skywalker, that James Earl Jones was coming back as the voice of Darth Vader, and that John Williams, the one and only, the greatest composer of all time, the greatest movie composer of all time, was coming back to Star Wars to compose music for this show. I just couldn't have been more excited. Like, this sounded like an amazing, amazing show. And now, having seen the show, I'm extremely sad to report that it is aggressively mediocre, at least from my opinion. From my perspective, I thought it was very, very mediocre. And that's a problem, you know? Like, when you're making an Obi-Wan Kenobi show with all of those pieces that I just mentioned coming back to Star Wars, with all of those people, all of those collaborators, all of those creatives coming back to Star Wars, this shouldn't have been mediocre. This should have been a slam dunk. This could have been a slam dunk. But as it is, it's just not that good. And the biggest problem of this show is, without a doubt, the script. And once again, you can't have a great show. You can't have a great movie. You can't have a great anything if you don't have a great story. And I'm afraid that the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi is just filled with so much unnecessary stuff that it just feels very unfocused and very dull, and yeah, once again, aggressively mediocre. So yeah, one of the biggest problems that I have with the script of Obi-Wan Kenobi is, without a doubt, the focus, or I guess the lack thereof throughout the whole show. You know, if you ask me, the focus of this entire show should have been Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Vader. That should have been what this show should have been about. It should have been a confrontation in between Obi-Wan Kenobi and, you know, his ex-Padawan, who is now this dark Lord of the Sith. There's a great line in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, where Darth Vader is fighting Luke Skywalker, and he literally says, Obi-Wan once thought like you did. Like, this is what this show should have been. This show should have been the explanation of that line. This show should have shown Obi-Wan Kenobi really trying his best to bring Darth Vader back to the good side. But that's not what it is. Instead, we get to spend a lot of time with other stuff that nobody asked for, like young Princess Leia, which, okay, I have nothing against the actress. I think that the actress who played young Princess Leia did a great job, and, you know, she's a great child actress. But come on, how many times are we going to have a Star Wars Disney Plus show where an old war veteran is taking care of a child? When they did it with The Mandalorian, it was fine. It was the first time they did it. It was new, and it was cool. But then they did it again with the Bad Batch, taking care of this little child called Omega. And that was fine. But that was the second time you did it. But now they do it a third time, now with Obi-Wan Kenobi taking care of Leia. And by now, it has just become old and boring and tried and just very uninspired. So yeah, instead of focusing on Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Vader, you get to focus on young Princess Leia, and you also get to focus on a new character that they introduced for this show called Reva, who Reva basically, you know, as you guys know, because you all saw the show, Reva used to be one of the younglings that, you know, when Order 66 happened and when Anakin Skywalker killed a bunch of younglings in the Jedi Temple, Reva was one of those younglings, and she survived. So then, according to this show, after surviving the massacre at the Jedi Temple, she grew to hate Anakin and she grew to hate Darth Vader, and she decided to become an Inquisitor just so that she could get close to Darth Vader, just so that she could try to kill him, which, just from the get-go, her plan makes absolutely no sense. Or at least the way they executed it in this show, it made no fucking sense. Like, how do you expect me to believe that a character who saw her friends, her Jedi friends getting murdered in front of her eyes, you know, that she hates so much the person who killed her friends and who killed those Jedi, that she's literally gonna grow old to become an Inquisitor, she's gonna murder a bunch of Jedis, and she's gonna murder a bunch of children, just so that she can then kill the person who murdered all her friends? I don't know. If you ask me, it makes no sense, and it feels very weak from a screenwriting perspective. You know, I believe like a character like Reva could have worked in her own show. I believe like making a whole show about the Inquisitors going around the galaxy hunting Force-sensitive children. That would have been a great idea. That would have been a great concept. And the whole idea of, a Force-sensitive youngling who grows to become the person that they used to hate the most, that is also a very cool idea. But here in this show, mixed with an Obi-Wan Kenobi storyline, mixed with with Leia getting kidnapped and then Obi-Wan trying to go rescue her, you just don't have enough time to develop all of this stuff in a satisfying way. And once again, nothing against the actress. I think Moses Ingram did the best job she could with the writing, with the script that she was given. But yeah, the script just wasn't that good from the first place. And, the moment when I realized that there was something wrong when it comes to the focus of this film was when the show, Obi-Wan Kenobi, begins. And the first scene, like the opening scene of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, is not even a scene featuring Obi-Wan Kenobi. The first scene of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is a scene of young Reva just running and trying to escape the Jedi Temple when she was a youngling. But not only that, the final confrontation of the whole show is not even a confrontation in between Vader and Obi-Wan. No, the final confrontation of the show, it's a confrontation in between Reva and young Luke Skywalker who's running around the sand. And then Obi-Wan talks to her for a couple of seconds. But come on, this shouldn't have been the focus of an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Reva character, and once again, nothing against the actress. So yeah, once again, going back to my argument about this show lacking focus, instead of it being a show about Obi-Wan versus Vader, it is a show that focuses on Princess Leia, that focuses on Inquisitors, that focuses on Reva, and what ends up happening is that none of these stories are fully developed and none of these stories are fully explored as they deserve to be. So yeah, everything ends up feeling very half-baked, very uninspired, very rushed, and very ordinary. I guess my main point is that this show, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the story that they wanted to tell, this could have easily been a 2-hour movie just focused on Obi-Wan versus Vader, and it could have been great. But instead, they decide to fill it with so much filler, with so much stupid stuff, and with so much stuff that has nothing to do in an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Some of the dumb stuff that I'm talking about that is here in the show is, for example, Leia getting kidnapped not just once, but 2 times. You have Leia Organa, who the first time we see this character in Star Wars Episode 4, she's getting kidnapped by the Empire, and she's getting kidnapped by Darth Vader. That's our introduction to Leia in the original trilogy. And now you introduce Leia, once again, as a child, when she's 10 years old, and she's once again getting kidnapped. And not only that, but she doesn't only get kidnapped one time this show, she gets kidnapped twice in this show. That's insane. That's such a waste of time, and it's so unnecessary that I honestly don't know why that's in here. Also, more dumb stuff in this show. A 10-year-old Leia is outrunning adults left and right. How? I have no idea, but she does it, and it looks very silly. It looks like taken out of the Looney Tunes. Apart from that, you have Bail Organa, who is, Leia's adoptive father. You have Bail Organa sending messages to Obi-Wan that are so dumb. So unbelievably stupid. You are Bail Organa. Obi-Wan Kenobi has gone on an adventure to rescue your daughter. And you know that Obi-Wan is in danger. You know that he's facing off against the Empire, and he's facing off against Stormtroopers, and against Inquisitors, and against possibly Darth Vader. And what do? You send Obi-Wan this weird hologram voice message where you're literally saying does he know about the children? Does he know about the child in Tatooine? Why are you saying this, Bail Organa? You know he's in a war zone. He could be captured. That message could fall in the wrong hands, and then, the secret is out. Luke Skywalker is alive, and he lives in Tatooine. There's no reason why Bail Organa would mention that, and it just felt sloppy and dumb, and I didn't like it. You also have other stupid stuff, like Tala, who is an Empire official, just slapping stormtroopers, even though they have helmets on. And they just fall down and faint. And I'm like, what? You have a helmet. Why are you falling down? It was just beyond stupid. You also have characters like Haja, who Haja is played by Kumail Nanjiani. And I like Kumail. I like his work. I like what he does. And I like this character. But how stupid do you have to be living in the Star Wars universe in the years in between Episode 3 and Episode 4, where Jedis are being hunted left and right, and then you decide to pretend to be a Jedi just to get money? I'm like, that's incredibly dumb. I don't know, but this man, he doesn't really know what he's doing. And, the last dumb thing that is here in this show is the fact that there is no payoff for the Leia storyline. Like, the whole show is dedicated to Obi-Wan rescuing Leia, and then they don't even show us Leia getting back safe to Alderaan and hugging her parents and being like, oh, that was such a wacky adventure, I'll never do it again. But no, they just, Leia's with Obi-Wan, then they cut to a different scene, and then, after a couple of minutes, we cut back, and now Leia's suddenly in Alderaan, and she's safe, and, she's there. So, I don't know, that felt very anticlimactic. Another thing that really bothered me about Obi-Wan Kenobi is that there are just no stakes throughout the whole show. They're gonna make it out fine, and they're nothing bad is gonna happen to these characters because we've seen them in Star Wars Episode 4 and 5 and 6. So of course we know they're okay. The other reason why I say that that you don't feel stakes throughout the show is that they break their own rules. There are rules in Star Wars, and these rules are important. You have a universe with many different powers, many different abilities. You need to have rules. You need to have power hierarchies. You need to know what will happen when people use the Force and when people use a lightsaber. If not, everything is absolutely meaningless. And if there is one rule that is quintessential to Star Wars, is that lightsabers are deadly. These are weapons that can literally melt through metal as if they were cutting through butter. That is how powerful, that is how hot they are. But yet, here in the show, for some freaking reason, you not only get one character surviving getting stabbed by a lightsaber, but two characters surviving getting stabbed by lightsabers. It just baffles me. It's absolutely beyond me why they would do something like that. In episode 2, the Grand Inquisitor survives getting stabbed by a lightsaber. Don't ask me how. But then, the one that really infuriates me the most, it's in episode 5, after Darth Vader and Reva have had their fight. Darth Vader stabs Reva with a lightsaber. You assume that she died. It made sense that she dies because she's left there alone, all by herself, with a huge lightsaber wound on her stomach. But then the next episode begins, and she's not only alive, but she's also walking on a completely different planet. You're telling me this person, with a lightsaber hole in her inner organs, not only survived and managed to walk, just normally, but she also managed to travel to a completely different planet somehow? That's just so stupid that I genuinely don't know why they're doing this. It used to be that surviving a lightsaber was the exception. But now Disney has honestly made it that now it's the other way around. Now, dying from a lightsaber, that is the exception. That is the weird thing. And that is not how it should be. Lightsabers should be deadly. And now, the dumbest thing, and the thing that I like the least about this show, is the fact that everyone keeps letting everyone leave. Like, it honestly feels as if at times the characters knew that, oh no, this character is alive in the original trilogy, so I can't kill them. And that's the only reason why they don't kill them. It's insane, and it drives me crazy. Like, in episode 3, Darth Vader fights against Obi-Wan Kenobi for the first time, and Darth Vader has him. Like, he literally has Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's making him levitate with his force pull. He has him. But then no, just one person fires a bullet and some fire appears. And then a robot comes in to take away Kenobi's body. And Vader is like, fine by me, I guess you won. Go to take Obi-Wan Kenobi to safety. How dumb is that? He was literally using the Force to levitate Kenobi in the air. He could have easily grabbed that robot or grabbed Kenobi's body and just yank him over to him. But no, he just lets him go. Because I guess Vader knows this is only episode 3 of a 6-episode show, and Kenobi needs to stay alive until episode 6 for their final confrontation. So that was very dumb. Then in episode 5, you get Darth Vader literally bringing down a huge spaceship from midair and just ripping it open because he thinks that Obi-Wan Kenobi is in there. But then, turns out that there was a second ship that just, goes up into the air as soon as Darth Vader brings down the first one. And instead of bringing it down as well, just like he did with the first one, he's just like, oh, you got me. Good luck. Haha, you got me, silly Obi-Wan. The fuck is that? If you already show us that Darth Vader is capable of bringing down one spaceship, why didn't he bring down the second one? And once again, in episode 5, the whole plot twist about Reva being a youngling and her becoming an Inquisitor just to get close to Vader, just so that she's later able to kill him. all of that, finally is revealed in episode 5. Then Vader has his big fight against Reva, and it is also revealed that Vader has known all along that Reva used to be a youngling, and that Reva actually wants to kill him, which that is beyond stupid. Because why the hell would Vader let someone with such dangerous information live for so freaking long? Like, Reva literally knows his secret identity. She knows that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. And then he just left her serve for him for a while. And then at the end, when there's literally no use for her anymore, Darth Vader still refuses to kill her. He just pierces her with his lightsaber, which once again apparently is not lethal, and he then just lives. Since when has Vader left someone just stay there? Like, no, this is Darth Vader. He finishes the job. He kills people ruthlessly. So yeah, that really rubbed me wrong. And then, oh boy, the one that really made me mad is at the end of episode 6, after Vader and Obi-Wan have their big fight. So, in episode 3, Obi-Wan lets Anakin live, and he's not able to fully kill him in Mustafar, because he still feels for him, and he still feels for Anakin, and he has feelings for Anakin, and Obi-Wan is like, this used to be my brother, you used to be my friend, I can't kill you. So that makes sense. But from episode 3 onwards, Obi-Wan Kenobi is full of regrets, and he regrets not killing Anakin completely, because look what happened. Obi-Wan is responsible for Darth Vader. If Obi-Wan would have finished the job and would have killed Anakin in episode 3, we wouldn't have had Darth Vader, and millions of people would still be alive. And that has haunted Obi-Wan ever since. But now, here, in episode 6, they have their rematch. Obi-Wan beats Darth Vader. Anakin is weak. He's on the ground. He's dying. He's struggling. Then Anakin literally tells Obi-Wan that Anakin doesn't exist anymore. That the only thing that exists is Darth Vader. Obi-Wan accepts the fact that his friend is no longer there, and yet he still refuses to kill him. That makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, I guess, previously, everything that Darth Vader did used to be sort of Obi-Wan's responsibility. But now even more, he made the same mistake 2 times, and that is just, I don't like that. Now, that being said, I've talked enough about the things that I don't like about this show. There are things that I do like. I don't want to sound like I absolutely hated this show, because there are some good things. It was great to see Ewan McGregor once again as Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was great to see Hayden Christensen, have another go at Anakin. It was great to hear the John Williams music, even though it was used a lot more sparingly than I hoped for. Also, it was great to see Alderaan before it is destroyed in episode 4. In episode 4, we are introduced to Alderaan, and then seconds later, it gets blown to smithereens. So it was really cool to see what Alderaan was like before all of that happened. It was also really cool to see some great Force powers, to see Darth Vader and Obi-Wan using some cool Force powers during their final fight. And that final fight was great. I really, really enjoyed that fight. The one thing that, really dampened that experience for me was, once again, the fact that Obi-Wan just lets Vader live at the end for absolutely no reason. I also like seeing Qui-Gon Jinn at the end of the last episode. That was, a really cool Easter egg, I guess. But I just wish they would have included Qui-Gon Jinn in a better way. I don't know. It felt a bit forced. Like, if you're going to bring back Qui-Gon Jinn as a Force ghost, like, at least have him appear, like, in a crucial moment. Like, imagine how cool it would have been if the Force ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn would have appeared as Vader is fighting Obi-Wan. That would have been so freaking great. But instead, when the story's done and when everything is over, you just get Force Qui-Gon show up and be like, hey, Obi-Wan, come on, let's go chill. I'll teach you some stuff. And I don't know, it felt like very cheap. It felt very cheap. So yeah, in conclusion, Obi-Wan Kenobi was aggressively mediocre. It could have been a great movie if it only focused on Kenobi versus Vader, but instead, they gave us a mediocre show filled with unnecessary stuff and filled with half-baked ideas. So yeah, if I were to give a rating to Obi-Wan Kenobi from 1 to 10, I would give it a 5 out of 10, which means that I think it was meh.